Hey, all. Welcome to Training with Kayce. I'm your host, Kayce Cover. And tonight, let's talk about perception modification again, because we've been doing this for the last 2 or 3 weeks. I am launching the perception modification class, okay, which covers condition relaxation and also the perception modification certification course, which prepares you to test for certification and covers the subject of cycles in depth. 20 weeks long, those two things together, but you need them both. And it's a lot of information, and the people are doing so well. And we're all loving it. We have had almost everybody that comes into the class stays for both of them, stays all the way through to the end, stays involved for, quite a long time, which I love. I love the training community. I love being able to talk about things and develop together. SATS is always developing. If come to the perception modification classes now, we know a lot more about how things work, why things happen, and we've developed our technique even further. I can't believe that we used to do this. Get this. I used to certify people in perception modification and bridge and target, but we just called it animal training, I think, in 2 days. Maybe 3 days, like a long weekend. We worked hard. I remember people crying. We didn't want them to cry, but anyway, it happened. We couldn't do that now. We just couldn't do that because people working really hard for 3 days can learn to perform perception modification. But by the third day, they're exhausted. So we format that differently now. We sure don't try to put bridge and target in there. So not only is this class, which empowers pro trainers to take care of problems that a lot of them have not been able to take care of, like separation anxiety, phobias of various noises, like air brakes, gunshots, thunder, and this time of year, the all-time favorite, fireworks. But it's a lot more than that. If your dog is afraid of the vets, if they don't want to get their nails trimmed, if they don't like the groomer, if they don't like their ears cleaned, it goes on, right? Or maybe they're reactive to other dogs. Maybe they're aggressive. Maybe they're hyper aesthetic, where they're sensitized to everything. Yeah, this is 95% of the professionals, trainers' job in America. There's a few trainers that are task oriented. For example, they train for Schutzhund or obedience or SAR, but most trainers, 95% of their business is fixing behavior problems. And we've really carved a niche out there because we can do this in record speed. And guess what? We don't need any extrinsic devices. What the heck does that mean? Nothing external. We don't need food. We don't need toys. We don't need e-collars. We actually don't need any kind of collar. So we put collars on dogs if they're in groups, or if we're working outside, where we have to make sure that we have the dog managed at all times. But in homes, when I'm at home, when I'm working in a dog's home, nah, none of that. And it's really fast. We teach the bridges and the targets in less than a minute, and I can generally solve a serious problem in 15 hours or less of training time. That amazes me. It still amazes me, but I'm very grateful for it. Now, when we take the animals through these programs and they hit all 5 milestones, they become self-managing almost all the time. When I say almost all the time, we have a few dogs that just have something going on. So we can't help. We've helped almost every dog, but there's a few dogs that we can't totally solve the problem. I own one, and my dog is a great dog, but he shows signs of when the stimuli stack up, he'll go into a meltdown. And that could be something neurological, right? And it happens to everybody. And just like people, dogs can have, autism, mental illness, seizures, epilepsy, might even be able to have depression, right? So we can't fix everything, but we can fix a lot of things that many people think you can't fix without drugs. Many times we have helped animals that are obsessive compulsive without using any medications. And of course, the fireworks phobia, right? And we don't use medication for that. And it's almost always resolved in a single fireworks session. Although I'm sure there's some dogs that it takes more, and a lot that it takes less. Shout out to Roberta Lawrence and her wonderful cat, Mr. Pickles, who is now departed. But Roberta was able to just explain things to her cat. And he had been really terrified of fireworks. And I don't remember if it was thunderstorms also, but anyway, it just totally fixed things for him. So where he had been terrified for years, after Roberta actually took the effort to teach him about this, he never had another problem. And Roberta is not a professional trainer. Spoiler alert, she didn't even go to the class. Okay, she just applied the principles of the class and she helped her cat herself. So the 4th of July is right around the corner, and that's a special case for perception modification. And in a certain way, it's a harder case to train because you can't control it. You cannot set up cycles and make sure the animal gets the right amount of challenge and no more, no less, because you have no idea when the fireworks are going to come and where they're going to come from and how many and how intense and how loud and what are they going to smell like and what will they sound like. Will they whistle or will they pop? Will they explode? Will they boom? But guess what? Nonetheless, we can usually solve the problem in a single session. So we have a class, and that class is on special right now. So I really think every animal needs this training, every single animal, every person, every child. It's not just a way to prepare animals to cope with stress and manage their emotions. It's a way, though it is a way that all of us will benefit from understanding so that we can cope with stress and manage our own emotions as well. So every year I hear people complaining about fireworks. They want to shut them down. They want to keep everybody from firing off fireworks. Well, guess what? It hasn't happened so far. So here's your choices. Are you going to complain about it and bemoan it and try to shut other people down and be angry and bitter if you don't get what you want out of this? Or are you going to give your animal the gift of becoming independent, independently able, independently capable of coping with fireworks? So you remember last year, I showed a video of my horse with fireworks. And even though we've been together for 30 years, we had never been through fireworks together. And so, woohoo, now she's at home. And one of the neighbors was setting off fireworks. And literally on July, I don't know, 1st or 3rd, but before the 4th, he set off 1 to 3 fireworks. And I happened to be out there and catch them. Now, I caught them with my horse, but I didn't catch them with a camera. But I did explain the situation to our 2 horses. And it was too dark to take video. So that was that. On July 4th, I went out early with the camera. And sure enough, a neighbor was setting off fireworks. And the first one that went off, my horse started. She wheeled around, she looked, and she was very concerned. But I explained what it was and even where to look for them. And she looked calmly in the direction that I told her to look. And you can see it in the video. And she was okay. And the other horse was eating her hay, and she was really okay. So, in the amount of time that we had to talk about the fireworks when there was, 1 or 2 implosions, right? Fireworks going off. And then 2 days without anything. And then the 4th of July. And here come the fireworks. The horses didn't like it, but they could cope just fine. So remember I said we could almost always take care of the problem in a single fireworks session? I'm thinking, a public presentation, a fireworks show. But in reality, it can happen much faster than that. So I can't tell you everything in the class. The class has been amazingly effective for people. But I can share with you one thing that you can do that Roberta Lawrence did for Mr. Pickles. Is you don't have to be a great trainer. You just have to be mindful. You can explain to your animal what's going on. I know. A lot of people have told you don't talk to your animals. It just confuses them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, they're not correct. It's possible that some animals are confused, but most of them are not. And you're going to find that your animals understand a lot more English or whatever your native language is than we tend to think they do. So just to put you in the right mindset, does your dog understand the word dinner, treat, car, walk, ball, toy, good dog? If he understands those things, go outside, get your leash, come over here. Did you teach him all those words, or did he just pick them up? Now, I systematically teach animals vocabulary, so it's not haphazard with me. But what I have learned is that the animals are constantly paying attention to what's going on around them, and they teach themselves a lot of language. And I get that. I have traveled in many countries, and I'm constantly studying the language wherever I am. I study the language and I learn many of the words. And then I start to be able to pick them up as I hear them. And nobody took me to school and taught me how to say those words. I'm studying all the time so that I can get around better and communicate better and understand better. And animals do the same. All right, so what is this great thing that you can do? We call it name and explain. Excuse me. And it's just a running narrative of what will happen. So here's another thing. If people have told you that dogs have no sense of the past or the future, only the present, that's not true either. So it is useful to tell the dogs what will happen, what it is, where it's coming from, what it is, maybe carefully even show them some sparklers, other fireworks up closer. Now be sure that you exercise a lot of caution if you're doing something that could fly around the air, okay? And of course, only do this if it's legal in your area. But even just getting some sparklers and some of those little caps. And they have those caps that you light them and they kind of do their thing on the ground, but you can also use one of those cap guns just to produce the noise where you can control it. And you can show the animal what it is before you light it, while it's safe. And then you can show them where you're going to light them and you can tell them what's going to happen. Are they going to fly up? Are they going to go around in a little circle? Are they going to make noise? Explain all that to the animal. Then, as it's happening, explain it again. That's the Roman candle I told you about. This is a sparkler, like I explained. See how it fizzles? See how bright the light is? Look what happens when I turn it around. And then when it burns out, I'll let you smell it again, etc., etc. You go through the whole process with the animal, and I always give the animal encouragement. Can you be easy? That's a great dog. You're just doing really well with this. And this is a sparkler. And see, I'll hold it over here. Can you see what it looks like? It's kind of pretty, isn't it? Very bright. Okay, good dog, good dog. Look at how good you are. You're really coping with this well. And then later on, when the sparkler is cool and burned out, I'll let them smell it. I want them to understand and not think that this is, unpredictable, dangerous stuff, even though it is, right? But it's somewhat controllable. That's it. Now, if you take the course, there are 3 other important tools, but you can't learn everything at once. And if you start with this narrative, like I said, Roberta Lawrence fixed things for Mr. Pickles. And maybe you will be that lucky as well. And you can take this piece of information and take it to the bank and help your animal. Okay, sounds too good to be true, right? All right, look in the links below this in the description for the registration for the perception modification class, and also for the 1, 2, 3, 4 boom class. 1, 2, 3, 4 is refers to the number of tools that we teach you to use in the short boom class. And you can use this for fireworks, but also for gunshots, thunder, possibly even air brakes. Very useful, very efficient, and boy, can you bring a lot of relief to your animals and others. All right, that's as simple as it is. Please try this and let me know. Let me know how it works for you in the comments. Also, as always, please subscribe, like, comment. It's so helpful. Thank you very much. Happy 4th of July. And get your perception modification class. What are you waiting for? Take care.